Hi everyone. I just am so awed by all the artwork and the heart sharing on this group already. Thank you so much. It's just exquisite to see so much soul sharing. And I'm about to go to Sanur, which is a local town, to get some art supplies so I can start my, live and walk in my talk, so to speak. My soul is wanting me to do a huge flower, and in the middle it just says, "There is only love," which sounds like every other piece of artwork you see in Ubud, but, I had a huge river of tears chanting to Om Namah Shivaya this morning, which brought me to that image. And thought I'd just share with you what my stripping back has, involved in the last, just this morning, really. And that is that I realized I have moon in Capricorn. And so one of the ways that I try to stay safe is by being really controlling with the people that I love. Yeah. And so I say, right, these are the tasks you have to do. And, I'm the taskmaster. I'm the rule, the one who is like this critical judge, and Saturn rules Capricorn. So, Saturn can be like Darth Vader, the sort of strict, punishing disciplinarian of the zodiac. And so this is my moon placement, which is my inner self, my emotional self. So I realize that while I can be really inspiring for others to step up out in the world, this is how my leadership, plays out in a positive way. In my personal relationships, my loved ones can experience more of the tyrant because the stakes are higher, the fear of getting hurt. And so at first I thought the image that I was asked to paint, and I was scared because I didn't know how I was going to paint it, to be honest, was me falling, me surrendering and trusting that the universe loves me, that, ultimately it is safe to let go of control, to let go of needing to impose my will on others to stay safe. And, that came as a bit of a rude shock, really, because I'm all about free will. But your shadow's your shadow. You don't see how you're doing it, and often to those closest to you, So then coincidentally, Geraldine, who was the support person at my recent retreat, messaged me after I came out of this dozy, wakeful, between the worlds, getting that image and the downloads this morning, coming out of sleep. And she offered me a free session to go back and revisit my birth, what had happened in my birth and the story that I'd taken on, so that we could shift whatever illusory story I'd taken on. And this feels so linked because, that's the fall. That's the initial fall that we all take as starseeds, when we come and incarnate into a body. So it makes sense in the Venus descent, whatever our birth story is will really come up. And so this impacts how we create in the world. Our Venusian energy is about creating from love. And so if we're running a story that we're not held, we're not safe, it's not safe to be in a body, it's not safe to be here, we can't trust our mother, which, I've carried those stories, and I realized that the trust issues I have with my own birth mother are because of this existential lack of trust with chaos, which is the universal mother. So, then I went into seeing some more of my shadow mother stuff. That was fun. I also had a couple of great conversations with women over the past 2 days where, I invited them to point out what shadow Venus they saw in me. And one of them, she said, "Got so many images of your Yoni." From all the ways you talk about it, that you're being funny, like I said something about it's in the deep freeze. And she said, "You need to stop doing that. You need to stop speaking in a derogatory way about, you know, your Yoni. It was like, whoa, thank you. That's a great gem. So I'd invite you when you're, you know, seeing friends or just inviting the people that know you the best, ask them, what do you think is my shadow in terms of how I love others, how I love myself, because they will be able to see it more clearly than you can about yourself. Josie has shared, my birth was that I believed I was born to my dad, that he was the nurturer. I found out later the first thing he did was take me before my mum got to touch me, and he almost dropped me. How interesting. Yeah, look, it's, you know, that first imprint when we get here is absolutely huge. I'm sure Geraldine Crumpton, she can do Skype sessions if you want to, if anyone out there listening is like, yeah, that resonates, I'd like to do a session to clear whatever illusory story. Yeah, I might be able to put a link up or something to her. So, yeah, and I realised that I have mothered every man that I've been with, and that has emasculated him. So I always thought men were afraid of me because I've got a lot of Lilith energy, and I called out the shadow, called out the truth. And look, that there's definitely some, you know, some legs in that. However, the piece that I got this morning was, by me setting all these tasks that lovers have to do, or, you know, I did this with my daughter as well, you know, trying to get them to step up and be their potential, but in a way that's pushing them rather than giving them the space and the freedom just to be themselves and to do it in their own way, in their own time, which is truly honoring of their knowing. You know, because I've got strong intuition, I was imposing my knowing onto others, which is not appropriate. It's not loving. And so I saw that I'm being an overbearing mother. And the conversation I had yesterday with a girlfriend, Headley, she gave me a great insight into the mother wound that men carry, which is, you know, when the father is absent, which is what's been the case with the industrial age, whether he's been physically, emotionally, psychologically absent, doesn't matter. Absent is absent. When he is not full of his own soul presence, he's not awakened in the heart, the archetype of king, he's not bringing his full presence to the relationship. So this has meant that pretty much every mum has been a single mum, has done the lion's share of child rearing. And so the message that, what happens is she transfers her love and attention onto her son, if she has a son, excuse me. And so he becomes a little man, you know, it's basically emotional, psychological incest. This puts an unfair pressure on boys to have to, you know, make their mums happy. And they have this inner conflict then of wanting to run away from the feminine, fearing the feminine will eclipse them, will dominate and domineer the way their mothers did, will take over and impose her will on them because she's unfulfilled in the marriage, or, you know, not been met by men. So she's putting all her eggs in the basket of her son, trying to create the perfect son. And I know I watched my mother do this. And my brother pushed back. He went through a phase of not speaking to her for 12 years as a result. So, you know, it was an extreme case. But the point is, so we have this dynamic where, you know, men are conflicted. They don't dare name the shadow of their mother to take back their power because they feel this guilt, like she was the one that was there for me, not my dad. You know, she sacrificed herself. And so long as they're not, you know, taking her off the pedestal and seeing her warts and all, her strengths and her warts equally, seeing her as a fellow flawed human being, they're not taking their own power back. So they're unconsciously projecting resentment towards the mother onto all their female partners if they're heterosexual, and running away from them, and this split between the soul wanting them and the ego being terrified and running away. So another shadow I realized was, you know, I've always focused, like so many women, on the wounds of their partner and trying to help facilitate them through those wounds, which is codependency. It doesn't work. And again, it just emasculates them. And I went, well, what the hell's my mother wound? You know, so, and it was this, I can't trust the process. Yeah, I can't just allow things to be and to flow, which is the feminine, you know. It's like trying to constantly fix things. And yeah, so just thought I'd share those thoughts with you. Hopefully it's you know, something that resonates with you and you go, oh my God, yeah, I see myself in that. And it will, yeah, hopefully facilitate something in your own healing. But yeah, my most humbling thing was that, you know what, it's all love. No matter how far we fall, how low the experiences are that we have, it's all the benevolent universe. It is all coming from a place of love. It's all what we have chosen. So there's no point in putting all our energy into fighting it. You know, what is crossing our path is the divine. Whether it's showing up as something dysfunctional or not, it's what we need to bring up our issues. And the more we focus on other people's issues and trying to help them, the more we're just avoiding our own wounds. So yeah, here's to taking responsibility for just focusing on our own wounds and letting people have the space to focus on theirs. So blessings on your day, and yeah, just loving all the sharing and the outpouring of art, divine. All right, ciao for now.